Först så ska jag prata om någonting som vi ser hela tiden, bilder från kriget i Syrien. Nu så kommer ni få höra en historia om hur en ung person rekryterades till IS. Sverige är det land i Europa, näst efter Belgien faktiskt, som har flest män och kvinnor som har rest för att ansluta sig till terrororganisationen IS. Och det här är i relation till vår storlek i befolkning. Enligt Säpo har minst 280 personer från Sverige rest till konfliktzonen i Syrien och i Irak. Men mörkertalet tror man är mycket, mycket större. 3 av 4 som ansluter sig till IS från olika länder runt om i världen gör det efter att ha påverkats av vänner. Det här visar en ny internationell forskning enligt Ekot idag. Endast omkring 5% har lockats till IS via radikala moskéer eller efter att ha kontaktats av professionella rekryterare. I Danmark så är också ett stort antal unga människor påverkade och rekryteras till IS. Och de som är mest mottagliga de är 15 till 25 år. Jag har bjudit in Karolina Dam från Danmark som förlorade sin son Lukas som anslöt sig till IS. Och hon ska få berätta sin historia här. Välkommen hit. We will speak English
Yeah.
to understand each other better. Could you please tell us the story about Lukas? Because he was a child who had difficulties.
Well, he had autism, he had Asperger's, and he had ADD. And eventually he was diagnosed, but it took a few years to get him diagnosed. So he had struggles with school and in his daycare.
Could you describe a little bit about his problems? What was his difficulties?
It's down to basics. It's the social guidelines, you know, had the rules of how to interact socially with each other. He could rarely reflect. He could see if my eyes were, then I probably was angry, but he couldn't reflect on what was going on. He could see if, you know, anyone was happy and stuff, but it just, you know, in a interactive environment where he's playing with friends and stuff, sometimes it was just too much chaos, and most times it was better for him to be on a bike for himself, playing with something for himself, playing with a Lego or
Did he find himself being an outsider in school?
Yeah, he did. This goes down to, you go in a classroom where there are 22 other kids, there's a lot of chaos going on. He just couldn't handle it, and he couldn't understand that they couldn't understand.
But when he became a teenager, he found peace in Islam. How did that happen?
He had an apprenticeship at a car shop where he was working as a sweep boy in the shop, yeah? And they were Muslim, all of them, and especially one of them was extreme Muslim. And when he was around 15, I just gathered that it was the Ramadan, and he wasn't eating and drinking water during the day, and he was more active at night time and more participant in the family of what we were doing at night time. So I just asked him, are you on a Ramadan?
Why did you ask that?
Because I don't know. I just linked them together. And he said yes. So from then on, well, great, then we need to do, you know, I needed to find a way to have my non-Muslim family to all of a sudden have, you know, I needed to create a good environment so everyone could be there. So we had to change some things, you know. He wouldn't have pork, and we needed to structure some other things, and it was hard work. He went on hunger strike for a couple of months because he didn't want to eat anything in the kitchen that has been where there has been pork.
But you found out that he sort of found peace in Islam. It was good for him to have that structure. He was praying 5 times a day,
yeah.
and he was Sort of in peace.
Yeah, well, not only in peace, he had a drive, a really great drive. And this isn't anything other than fantastic for a mother to observe and to see when your son has been struggling for so many years for people to understand him, that all of a sudden he was at ease, he was in peace. He finally knew which shelf he belonged to. And this was beautiful.
How would you shortly describe your son, Lukas, as a person? How was his personality?
Well, it depends on which period of his life. Up until he left, he was more... he had a huge amount of empathy. He was working a lot for his friends, his brothers and sisters. He could come round with flowers, ask if he could shop, or, you know, a teenager that goes out with the rubbish or does the dishes on their own, that's not heard of. You know, teenagers don't really want to do chores around the house. But he just did it without asking.
And then, without you knowing it or understanding what happened, he sort of took off to Turkey. What happened?
Well, he just ran off.
He just ran off.
Yeah. I knew from his mentor. He was in a program where he had a mentor that was helping him with school or jobs, and he
connected to school. The mentor was connected to school, to the school he went to.
No, the mentor was there to help him try and figure out what he needed to do. As he had Asperger's and ADD, he had a hard time trying to navigate in his life. So this was sent to try and give him some tools and stuff. But he called me after they had a meeting with the municipality that he thought that she had cornered him, put pressure on him, not reading him or seeing him as where he was. And I tried to call Lukas, but he didn't respond. And 2 days later, he called me from a Turkey phone number.
What did he say?
He says, well, I'm in Turkey. I needed a vacation. And of course I was angry. I was scared. I says, you don't just go off without saying goodbye. You have to say goodbye. And he said, well, it happened so fast. And I says, look, I don't believe that. You have to be at the airport 2 hours before. So you have time to call your parents and say, I'm off for a vacation.
He was 18 at that time.
At that time, he was 18, yeah. Before he turned 18, I had his passport. He proclaimed that at a period he was living underground with 3 adult Muslim men. He was 15. I caught the police every single day, tried to get him out of there, tried to get, place a missing child case. But as he called me every day from a payphone, the police said I couldn't file a missing child case because he was in contact, in fact, every day.
So, to get it straight now, you are very positive to the peace he found in the structure in Islam. But then something happened that has nothing to do with the things he started out with in Islam. Is that true? Is that what... I mean, the radicalization... Had that something to do with Islam to start with?
Well, they would probably proclaim that had something to do with Islam, but in my world, I don't think radicalizing youth is anything to do with Islam. I don't think that ISIS is, in fact, a part of Islam. I think it's a sect that's manipulating with a religion and manipulating with their kids and pushing them into this fight that they can't win.
So if we go back then to Turkey, he called you and he said, I'm here now. What did he tell you? What was he going to do?
Well, he said that he was going to work in an aid camp, that he knew someone picked him up from the airport, someone that I have seen once in Denmark as well. And he was going to work with him in this aid camp.
Did you feel calm with that or
what can you feel when your son left all of a sudden and called you and say, well, he's going to work in an aid camp. Aid camp will be much better than holy war. So you need to outweigh. And as he just left without calling you, without saying anything, he might cut you off. So I had to give in a way, and this is where I come from as well. So I didn't lie. I think I am proud that my son would stop his own dreams or life fulfillment or what, to help others, to help his brothers and sisters, to help in aid camps. I think this is very pure. I think this is...
And you believe that?
Well, he actually did. The first 4 months he did work in aid camp, and I needed to believe it. We have talked before he left about holy war. I condemned it. He knew what I felt like. So this might be why...
What did he say about the holy war?
Well, we didn't talk that much about it, but he thought that it was an important fact that we need to fight for the people of Syria or Iraq. And where I come from, I think fighting doesn't only have to do with a sword. Fighting is working in aid camps as well, is trying to help these people create a better life. You know, there are thousands and thousands in camps. The weather now is cold, everything's damp, there's mud all over the place. This is horrific conditions for the people living there. So whatever we can do to help and ease that will be fine.
How did he explain that he didn't say goodbye before he left?
He said that he was in a hurry. And he said after that, when I called him out and says, I don't believe that, he said, well, I was afraid that you would try to stop me. I was afraid that you would be angry.
Did you speak to him after that?
Oh, yeah, we talk every week, sometimes several times a day, through an app called Viber. And every day, every time we talk about the same things. Well, he was very interested in what we're doing, what we had for tea, what the cats have been doing. And I tried to keep focus on this everyday life as well, as I'm a mother. And I need to feed him with all the things that he's missing out on.
Normal life.
Yeah. And this is what I do with
Did he say what he was doing?
Not much. I tried to get him to tell me more. Fact one, he is autistic, and with his Asperger's, it is very hard to get information from him. But I asked him, you know, I told him several times, I need to know what you're doing. I need to know if you've been peeling potatoes or if you've been boxing clothes. Or
I get a picture of what he was doing.
Yeah, and this is not only just because I need I need as a mother to know, but I want him to know that I'm interested in his life as well.
For how long time did this went on?
7 months.
7 months, and you had daily contact?
Well, sometimes several times a week, sometimes several times a day. So, but an ongoing contact, yeah.
But then something happened. A man came to you, was it?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, he knocked on the door on Sunday the 28th and said that, well, I could see something was wrong because he wouldn't look me in the eye. He was stumbling up the stairs. So he said he didn't say anything, and I was getting agitated, and I pulled him inside the doorway and closed the door, and I says, are you going to tell me that my son is dead? Is that why you're here? And he still couldn't talk. And I was so scared and so frustrated that I was looking for a knife. We were in the kitchen, and I was looking for a knife because I just knew that he was going to say something that I didn't want to hear. But he said, I can't tell you that your son is dead because I have told another mother at another time that her son was dead when in fact he wasn't dead. So your son is wounded. I dragged him in the living room. I wrote a whole lot of things down. He started telling me that it was in Aleppo. He was saying a lot of different things. I was trying to get the phone number. He gave me a different phone number. Well, at the end, he went home. He sent me a picture of Lukas on my phone, and I wrote right away, well, who took this? Does this mean he is alive? When is it from? And he contacted me the day after, said it was from a Facebook group. So obviously I asked for the link. I got the link, at 1:22, I was approved, came into the group, went through the whole thing. I saw the picture after opening every thread, and I saw it was there. I mean, not only my son died, but he was involved with ISIS, as there was on the picture the black and white flag in the background, but he was in fact in Syria, not in Turkey. Mm. So, and everything that was going on in that group, you know, it scared the shit out of me. It was, there were videos starting on autoplay. I saw some beheadings. I saw body parts. It wasn't, but I had to stay there because now I could get some information. So I screenshotted and wrote to the admin and everyone in the post, and around 4 o'clock I turned to receive messages from Syrian fighters, from ISIS supporters in the country and stuff as well. So from then on, I just went mad by trying to find out more information on what happened, because he was living a double life that I wasn't aware of.
Finally, you got another message. Audio file. Did you get...
Yeah, well, while I was searching for a lot of this information, I was looking on various pages, you know, through my son's Facebook page, who was he friends with, or anyone that posted anything about my son. I looked into them and their friends and stuff, and I got a hold of a guy whom I talked with several times, and we chatted a whole lot of times. He sent me some audio files that he had been talking with my son from Egypt and Syria.
We have a piece here that we should show, and you can describe it afterwards if you recognize him as your son.
Vores brødre og vores søstre, de er i Irak. Vores brødre og søstre i Syrien, vores brødre og søstre rundt omkring i verden, som bliver tortureret, de er kuffartespartner. De skriger efter vores hjælp. De skriger efter mændenes hjælpspartner. De skriger efter mændene i islam. Mændenes partner. Jihad, det er en meget stor del af islams partner. Allahu akbar, partner. Hvem ønsker ikke at blive shahid? Hvem ønsker ikke at blive shahid og blive tilgivet for alle sine synder, lige så snart den første dråbe blod falder fra ens krop?
Ja, det är alltså hämtat från Kalla fakta, och ni kan se hela reportaget i Kalla fakta om ni går in på tv4.play.se. This is your son, but do you see that he's changed?
Well, obviously this is my son, and I'm so thankful, even though this is hard information, I'm so thankful that I have this, because this tells me how programmed my boy was. And I would never, ever be able to break through that barrier. It's too late. They are programmed, they're changed, they're sick in the brain, and they need help. At the same time, it tells me how blessed he is. You know, the difference between doing something that you believe in and finding out that's not the right thing. He is content where he is. He's blessed. He couldn't be anywhere else in the whole world.
But what happened? Did you finally find out if he was alive or not?
Well, I've been through a lot of things, as it could be a propaganda sketch as well, but I've been tracking stuff. My journalist, Jacob Sheik, from the Danish newspaper Politiken, he's been working a lot trying to find out what's been going on, talking with sources, and he was in a building with two other guys when 3 of the US coalition bombs hit the building. But there's rumors going on that ISIS killed them themselves. There's a lot of things, and this is the hard part. You do not have a body. If it was a car crash, I could have a visual in my head that this blue car crumbled, but I don't have all that. I don't have a body. I can't bury him. You need kind of proof. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to understand it. So
to mourn somebody that you don't know if he's dead or not.
Yeah.
But you're sitting here telling your story because you have a purpose. You want to tell other parents to what? To look for signs or to...
I think not only parents, but we need to be pretty open-minded. We need to open our eyes. Just last week, I met a great guy at a conference in Aarhus. He told me that one of the major schools here in Stockholm, there was a Muslim guy going through the school cafeteria with the Quran under his arm, preaching. And where I'm from, I'm going like, you don't preach in a public school, in the cafeteria. You preach in the mosque. We need to make sure that we don't scaremonkey anything, but we also need to make sure that we are aware of what's going on. And for mothers, especially mothers to convert kids, don't rely on your kids being able to see the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. Do something. Take them to one of the good imams, sit in the car, wait outside until they're finished talking, and do it every week.
Thank you so much, Karolina Dam, for telling us your story, and we will link your information.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much.